All right, guys, so not here to waste your time. As you know, gonna go ahead and say all the things you don't care to hear, you don't want to hear. That way we just get them out of the way. So let me do that real quick. A like, a comment, subscribe, any of it, none of it, you do whatever you want. But if this video helps you in any way, any capacity, I would greatly appreciate it. And it helps me, it helps the channel, obviously, and it helps us grow. In addition to that, everything in terms of social media, all that is all linked below. All of our links, Discord, Twitter, Instagram, our website, all that is all below as well. And if you join the Discord, that'll be great because I'm actually going to start streaming early. We were gonna wait till we hit the 3K subs mark, but honestly, I'm kind of getting at a loss for content. And what I want to start uploading is just more gameplay. And I've had a few of you guys ask, can you upload some gameplay? You want to see actual gameplay, not just highlights, so to speak. Make sure I'm not lying to you, I guess, on builds and whatnot, which is totally fair. So I do want to start streaming, that way I can use those VODs as videos as well for the channel, just to show you guys, gameplay on builds and whatnot, but also be able to play with you guys. And that's why I'm bringing up the Discord, because if you join the Discord, well, I'm gonna need you to join the Discord because I'm not just gonna play with y'all not on comms, So join the Discord, get in the Discord, and then when we do run together, when I am running with subs and whatnot, I can drag you guys in there and we can actually talk and we can actually communicate. That's how I'm gonna do it. That's how I'm going to prefer doing it. I'd rather be in there talking to you guys and with you guys than just kind of randomly pulling people in and not really having communication or delayed communication because you're watching stream but also playing, and it's just not that great. So join up in the Discord. The link is below and we'll be good to go. All right, so today we're going to talk about guards, the 1 and the 2 pretty much, but they're interchangeable, honestly, at least if you're making them the way that we're talking about here. And honestly, I think kind of everybody would make them this way anyway, so it's not like that's anything new or I'm saying something that you don't already know. But like, my shooting guard actually typically always has higher passing and higher ball handle than I do, and I'm the main primary ball handler on our team. I always typically run like the 86 ball handle with the 77 to 91 passing, somewhere in between there. It just depends on which build I'm on, really, but he is always on a build that has like the 86, 87 passing and the 92 ball handle. So that just to say, he obviously has more ball handle and more passing, but I'm actually the primary ball pusher on our squad when we are playing. So they're interchangeable. You can make them, the 1 and the 2, very similar. You could almost run the exact same build at the 1 and the 2, if you've got 2 ways or whatever it is. And we'll get into it when we actually start talking about these builds and whatnot. But there's a lot to go over in this build because there's just so many different ways to make a guard. You can make any build in a variety of ways, obviously, but guards, there's really a lot of different ways to run them, and I don't think any of them are wrong. I'm even going to show you guys here now. I'm going to show you my personal builds that I have and different ones that I run, and I don't think one is any better than the other. They're just different and they're different play styles, and I do different things on them. So we'll get into it. Let's go. So all of these builds that you're seeing here, I actually have all of them other than this one at the very end here, this 2-way, which is kind of like a 3&D. But we'll go over it. But this is the only one I don't actually have built yet, just because I'm working on these other ones, obviously. But these 4 builds that you're seeing right here, I have these builds. You've either already seen a video on a build that's here, or a video is coming for a build that's here. But these 4 right here, I run interchangeably depending on who I'm running with or just how I want to play. Some of them have dunk, some of them don't. Some of them have higher shooting, some of them don't. Some of them are 2 ways and some of them aren't. So like, I don't think any of these are better than the other. Like I said, they're just different styles of play. So with builder secrets, if you're new here, we're going to actually get in the builder and really start from top to bottom and go over like attributes and like really how everything works. Now, if there's anything that you feel like is kind of skimmed over in this video, or even if you've seen the big man video, I had someone comment today actually and say, hey, I watched the big man video, but there wasn't really anything talked about layup. Well, we actually cover layup in more detail on our builder secrets video, just a general builder secrets video. On big men, we didn't cover it too much just because it wasn't the focus, and it's not really something we were considering, at least in terms of the bigs that we were mainly talking about. Honestly, maybe I should have gone over it, but either way, check the other videos as well, or if there's something in here you feel like maybe I just skim over it lightly, just remember we do have just an in general builder secrets that just covers the whole builder in terms of any build just in general, and in there it might be talked about a little bit more into detail, and I might put a little bit more time into it. Other than that, I'm going to show you guys these builds, but it's not the goal here. Maybe you already know that, maybe you don't, but I'm just going to show you these builds just to show you like, look, these These builds are all totally different, but I don't think, like I said, one is any better than the other. They're just different styles of play. That way you can just get a frame of reference. So when we do jump into the builder and start going over things, we can have that frame of reference, you know, to look back on like, oh yeah, well that build, you know, had this or whatever. So let's go. So this is my 6'3" point guard, my shot creating 3-level threat. Now, as you see, we've got high driving dunk, 90 is great. And I will put out a video on this build. Again, let's not get too caught up. I'm really talking to myself. I don't want to get too caught up because I talk way too much and about talking about this build specifically. I'm just showing you guys for frame of reference. Now you see that there's little to no defense. Well, I'm going to go ahead and show you some clips right now of my shooting guard, Chef, on this new 5'7", no defense at all, no strength at all, literally 0. And look at the defensive stops he's literally getting on people twice, 3 times his size. So these to say, not like defense is worth investing into, and we're gonna talk about it when we talk about this video and whatnot, but like if you see those clips, right, he's 5'7", and you see the contests or the stops that he's getting. Is it always that way? No. But that's with any build, whether you've got defense or not. Sometimes you get cooked and sometimes you don't, right? So like, it just depends. But ultimately, like when you see these builds that have little to no defense, a lot of people tend to think, you know, oh, that's a liability in the rec, you're not a good player or whatever. This is what I would say, and how I would how I want to start this video out is, 1, you've got to know your capabilities. I personally can run a 76 perimeter defense and I will hold my man to 0 or 10 or under 10 points majority of games. That's just me. I could run no perimeter defense at all, which I have, and I'm still getting my stops. I'm still holding my man to 0 points. So there's a little bit of a skill level in that, I would say. You know, not that I'm the greatest player by any means, because I'm not, but you've got to know your capabilities and what you can or can't get away with. You know what I mean? I know that I can run a 78 3-ball myself and be very, very consistent and shoot over 60% from 3 or even better. I also could run a 92 3-point and, you know, obviously do the same, hopefully, or even better. So that's just me and what I know I can get away with. You have to know what's good for you. And it wasn't always like that for me. And I've said this in a previous video, but 78 3-ball I used to not be consistent with. So I went up to an 86. I got a little bit more confident in my shot just in general. And after I got more confident in my shot, I actually made a build with 94 driving dunk that you'll see here in a second. And it only has a 78 3-ball. But I was much more confident running that 78 3-ball because I had spent time on a higher 3-ball build that just got me confident in shooting in general. I'm not saying I'm, you know, like I said, I'm not the best player by any means. But I know what I am capable of, at least now, and what I can or can't get away with, and that's what you have to know too. You will go into the rec and you will be a liability if you are a liability. I know that I can run very low to literally no perimeter defense, and I'm not going to be a liability in my team. I also typically run with homies, so if I am getting cooked, I can swap with one of my homies that does have much higher defense, and I can focus on my role, which is more being a point guard. Now you think, well, how do you do that with 77 passing? We've gone over 77 passing a ton in this. It is absolutely enough. It is absolutely worth it. The only thing you're actually losing with the 77 passing, yes, you're throwing a little bit slower. You're not throwing as fast. And I'll show a couple clips here, and I've showed you guys in plenty of other videos. But really the main difference and main thing you're losing is the bailout, which you get at 87 pass. And that's a very, very good badge and very, very good trait to have as a point guard, especially if you're driving and kicking, because you're not only just driving in now and kicking out, but you can actually drive in and make it look like you're actually going up and bail out literally from that animation after you get people to bite and hit whoever it is that's open. So that's a very, very good trait to have just as a point guard or a guard in general. It's very nice to have that bailout, but depending on the build and what you're running, you know, I wanted something on this build specifically. I wanted a 92 3-ball for the first time. I wanted high driving dunk on a smaller build just to see. And it was my first small build actually was this one. So I just was messing around with it. So I sacrificed on passing. If I remade it, I might make it a little bit different, but all in all, I do enjoy this build and I do have a good time. And most importantly, my teammates aren't complaining to me saying, hey, when you're playing defense, like you're just getting cooked, or hey, your passes stink and like this build's horrible. Like no one's complaining to me about my build on my team. So I think that means I'm playing pretty all right, you know, and that the build's okay. So this is one build, little to no defense, obviously some decent speed and whatnot. But again, I'm just showing you guys these for frame of reference on point guards in general. This is a point guard, obviously, that has very high shooting and is very effective at the rim. Whereas this build, a little bit different, right? One, we're 6'6", so we'll start there. We have more defense. Well, we have more steal. We don't have more perimeter, actually. We have the same perimeter. But I've got lower shooting. I don't have the dunking at all, but what I do have on this build is layup. There's so many different ways to make these builds. I also have 89 speed on this build, which I forgot about, and I haven't played on this build in a while. And I do like being on super fast builds like this, so I might got to play on him sometime soon. But either way, this build, pretty different, right? Higher midi, lower 3-ball, still a great range for 3-ball. Way higher free throw, right? Also free throw. I know I can get away with 71 free throw and be very, very consistent, but straight up having 90 plus 99 free throw is amazing. Probably one of the most satisfying things in the game when you go to the free throw line and you just know you're gonna make it. You don't have to think about it, especially if it's in a clutch moment. Now, if we're being honest, I play in the rec. Mainly, I'm always in the rec. If I'm not in the rec, I am in Pro AM 3s. So does it really matter if I hit my free throw? I mean, not to say that I'm going out there to sell on people and whatnot, but we're here to have fun. We're on this game to have fun. And if we're gonna be honest, we're getting to the point in the game to where it's just old and everyone's ready for the next one. And that might be a little early to say, but it's just the truth. Almost everything has been figured out. We know how the builder works. We know what we can and can't get away with. We understand the game in itself. And honestly, that's why I'm coming back down to things like this, to where it's I have much lower perimeter defense. I used to always have 85 perimeter and a minimum of 85 steal on all of my builds for a long time. Now I'm ready to make a build with no perimeter at all and maybe just steal, because I'm seeing the stops I'm getting or how good it's working and I'm not having any perimeter at all. And it's kind of like a full circle, right? Because earlier in the year, people were saying perimeter is really not even all that. You don't even need to invest into it. And comp players were even saying in that, yo, why'd you invest that high in a perimeter? You could invest more here. But also in a comp setting, if you're going to be the lock, so to speak, it wouldn't make sense to not invest into the perimeter, right? So it's kind of full circle. I feel like we're getting back to the point to where, one, people are starting to play again casually because they figured everything out. We went through the phase of trying all these new builds and trying these new things and seeing what perimeter all the way up felt like, or steal all the way up felt like, or a super high 3-ball or this. And like I said, we're just learning now what we can and can't get away with. But ultimately, we're just trying to have fun, because we're at that point in the game where we're just bro, I'm just loading up here and I just want to have fun. I want to make a build that has no defense and goes crazy on offense, and I want to try and get a 50 piece in a game. I'm not trying to sell on people. I'm just trying to have fun. I'm not going to go out there and not play defense or just be an absolute liability, but I think I can get away with this, and I'm going to test it and see. And if you can't, then scrap it, and if you can, then have a blast. So that's pretty much where I'm at least. I don't know about you guys. If you agree, drop a comment, whatever, let me know. But this is another build, same perimeter, lower dunking, obviously. We still do have finishing with layup, lower shooting in terms of a 3-ball, higher midi though, higher free throw, obviously much lower speed with ball and whatnot, because we're not going for the Kyrie dribble style. But either way, so we got the 99 steal on this, or the 91 steal on this, sorry. But the main difference between this build and the last build, really, at least for me, 86, I'm still shooting deep, and takeover in this game just in general is you might takeover might as well just be limitless range on gold or something, because with the 78 3-ball and limitless range, I can shoot at the hash, at the actual line where the hash is. I'll put up a clip right now. You can shoot from here consistently if you know your shot with takeover. Even with the 78 3-ball, this clip that you're seeing is literally with the 78 3-ball. So with takeover and whatnot, it's just it's ridiculous. So either way, 86 for me, I'm still shooting deep and I'm still shooting extremely consistent. 92 midi, great. And then with the ball handle and the speed of the ball on a 6'6", I've been over this before, but you can get away with this, and we'll go over this in more detail when we get there. But either way, this is just a different build. Again, just trying to give you guys a frame of reference. But really, for me at least, and what I know I can get away with and how I can play, the only thing I'm really losing and gaining in this build is I'm losing meter dunks, which is whatever. You can still finish with dunks at the rim with 36 driving dunk, and I know I have a clip of it, so I'm gonna try and put it here if I can find it, but you can still do that too. As consistent with 94 or whatever? No, obviously not. Like I said, you're not getting meters, and no way is it as consistent by any means. It's not what I'm saying, but you can still finish with a dunk. And what I'm gaining is 91 steal. 91 steal is 91 steal. It does its job. If you have no steal and you go for a swipe, you might go flying into the stands, and it might take you 25 minutes to recover before you get back onto the floor. You have 91 steal, 85 steal, 89 steal. Those are great thresholds, but you're going to get much better animations for one. Obviously, you're going to get more plucks, but also you're just going to recover faster if you don't get the pluck. So that's really the main difference, obviously, and then a little bit of speed here rather than the 85 or whatever it was on the other build. I've got 89. So for me, there's not much difference between the two builds other than I lose meter dunks and I get more steals. Other than that, they're pretty much the same across the board. Like 92 to 86 3 ball, I personally pretty much always shoot the same shot. I shoot very like consistent and I shoot very safe. So I'm usually toes on the line regardless. So even when I go to 78, it's not making much of a difference for me, except for the fact of like in the clutch, I need to hit a fader or something. It's going to be a little bit harder. But other than that, majority, 90% of my shots are all just simple catch and shoots, you know, wherever I'm at. And if I'm pushing the ball, I hunt more in the mid range. So the 84 to 92 midi, definitely a difference. 92 midi is amazing and I love it. But I personally, again, I can get away with the 84 or 86 and still have a great time and still be consistent and hit my shots. So that's this build. And I'll show you guys another 6'6", but again, this one has lower defense, but we've got a 92 3 ball on this one and a 94 driving dunk on this one now, and an 89 pass act. Now, this is the build that I'm running right now, majority of the time, and I'm having a really good time on it. 76 perimeter. If you invest into block, which we've gone over, there's a specific video I have called, this is why any and every build should have block on NBA 2K24. The thumbnail says better contests on the perimeter. If you invest into block in any capacity, you are going to get better contests now on the perimeter. Block helps not just with blocks in the paint or chase down, whether you get the badge or not. Investing into it in any capacity, like on the Kyrie build that you saw. Well, that's my Kyrie build. I don't know if you knew that, but my 6'3" build only has like 50 block and I've gotten chase downs on it. It also has an 82 vert or an 80 vert, whatever it was, but it has a higher vert. But still, even without getting the chase down artist badge, I've still gotten chase downs on that build just because I invested into block at all. And in addition to that, you get much better contests on the perimeter. Go check out the video on that, but block helps you with that. It not only gives you better animations for when you're jumping, so hopefully you don't draw that foul, but it helps you get those animations like fast ones. So if you do get broken off or the guy creates space on you, if you jump and it's, then you'll get a good jump, you'll get a good contest on that. So block just in general is great to have. So perimeter, I'm clamping them up. I don't get to go for steals, but you don't need steal to play good defense. I think that's something that a lot of people think. You have to have steal if you want to be a good defender. No, you do not. My job as a defender isn't to steal the ball. It's to stop him or the person from getting to the basket or scoring. I can do that by clamping them up on the perimeter or clamping them up in the paint or just walling up in the paint or whatever. In any capacity, you can do that without steal. So a lot of people see these lower, defensive builds and they're like, you don't even have any steal. Like, how are you going to play defense? Bro, like if this guy's driving in and I get him, if I force him to pick up the ball and I stop the flow of the offense or the clock's running down and he can't get around me, that's literally playing defense. So 76 perimeter defense, we're getting everything bronze. The main thing here, we're getting the off-ball pest silver, which off-ball pest is a great badge. And then the block on 71, if they do get around you, you're able to at least attempt going for a chase down or at least get a good enough animation to pull them out of their animation, because you're getting that good animation because you have invested in the block and you've got enough perimeter. At least for me, I can get away with 76 perimeter, like I said, and I can hold my whoever I'm playing to 0 points very often, very regular. So I personally have no issues with that. I used to go to 85 though. So, if you are up at 94 right now and you're like, I would like to save some attribute points and maybe invest into something else, but I don't know if I should go all the way down to 76. Don't go down to 85. 85 is a great threshold. And that's where I started. I was up in the 90s. I came down to 85 and I was like, I feel good here. I'm now down to 76 and I'm playing just as well and I'm playing just as good. Now, I'm not saying perimeter defense isn't worth investing into. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm not saying that your 3 ball isn't worth investing into. That's not what I'm saying at all. Obviously, investing into something and getting it higher, it's going to do a better job. I'm just saying I'm okay with running this at 76, or I'm okay with running a lower 3 ball, and I'm still going to be just as consistent, if not better, depending if I've put that threshold higher or lower, right? So for me, I can run this 76 perimeter defense. I'm not a liability. My teammates aren't getting mad at me, and I'm getting my stops and I'm doing my job. So that's just for me. And what I get to do when I do this, and because I know, myself or like what I can get away with, I get to invest more into passing or more into free throw or the 3 ball or the 94 driving dunk, which costs a ton. So you've got to make sacrifices. So for me, this build is not a liability. And what a lot of people will do, whether they come into this video or someone else's video, is they go, I just had a guy comment on one of our centers that we were talking about that only had like the 86 strength. And he just said 86 strength, like a bunch of laughing emojis. It's like, bro, like, not to knock anyone specifically or anything like that, but like, if you aren't capable of running that strength on a bit of an undersized big man or whatever it is, that's totally fine. But just because you aren't capable or it doesn't make sense to you doesn't mean that it isn't possible. There are people in this game that are better than you and that are better than me, and that like that's just how it is, right? And life just in general, there's people that are better or worse at things. So just because something may sound foreign to you or like there's just no way it could work, that's fine, but it doesn't make it fact, if that makes sense. So like it's the same with the 77 pass act. I used to be like 87, like that's it, like no conversation, no argument, like this is what it needs to be. And I used to kind of be in that same mindset of like, if you're running 77, like you're an idiot, like that's ridiculous. I run 77 now and I highly like believe in it. And it gives me a lot more points to play with on my build. So, you know, you live and you learn, whatever, but like you can get away with things, and either one, if you're just not capable of getting away with like lower attributes in certain places, that's totally fine. Or if you've just never tried it, then just don't say anything on it. Try it and see, because you know, it's true. I would like, let's say 77 passing. If you've only ever run higher passing and you don't believe in the 77, but you haven't tried it, just try it. And it is true, or at least it's good enough for me and a vast majority of people, but so I would assume it'd also be good enough for you if you're gonna try it. But once you do that and it is good enough for you, hopefully, that's a very pleasant surprise for you, because now you're like, dang, I can make builds so different than I've been making them all year. And that's kind of where I'm at now. The only reason I'm even putting up build videos now is because I'm making builds so much different than I used to make them, because I'm starting to understand, like, I don't have to have 91 or 89 passing or 87 passing. I can get away with 77. I don't have to have 92 ball handle. I can run 86. I don't need gold blow by and gold speed booster on my 6.6. I can only have silver and like still be great. Like, and now that I'm learning that because I tried those things, I'm like, dude, I can make builds so different now. And it's like almost like a new builder for me, right? Because like now my frame of reference has changed. Talked a little bit too much on that one, but here is another build just to give you guys a frame of reference. And these builder secrets videos are long, and that's just how it is. So welcome to the shit show. But driving dunk to 94 on this one, like we saw, right? But I've got a bit more defense and I've got less shooting, right? So I've got the 94 driving dunk on this one as well, 82 vert, obviously. I only have 88 and 78 for my shooting, but I have 85 steal, I have 76 perimeter, and basically what we swapped out here was we added steal and we lowered shooting is basically what we did on this build, right? So again, I don't think that this build is better than my other build, or that my other build is better than this build or whatever, right? I just think they're different. On this build, I get to be a little bit more of a pest and go for plucks. And if I just wake up that day and I feel like, you know, being an annoying pest in the wreck and spamming for steals, not literally spamming, don't flame me or whatever, but like, if that's what I'm feeling like, I can hop on this build and I can go for that. I have just as fun of a time going for steals as I do not going for steals. It's just a different build and a different play style. Again, one's not better than the other. I get to choose either of them because I have them, right? But if you're just gonna go with one, it's not that one's better than the other. It's just that I know I'm consistent with the 78 3 ball, and on this one I wanted a little bit more steal. I want to build that I can go in and, you know, mess around and be a pest and be annoying to people. Go get some passing lanes, get some clips for you guys, whatever it is. So again, not any better or worse, just a different play style, you know? So 94 driving dunk, 88 midi. I go 88 just because I get the gold green machine and space creator, but also I think you have to at least go 87 if you want the T-Mac base, and T-Mac base is what I run on my 6.6s. We have a jump shot video, and on my most recent video on my personal point guard build that I put up, I also have my jump shot in there, but I run the T-Mac jumper on all my 6.6s. It's the best one for me, but there's plenty of others, and we do have a jump shot video that has, you know, a bunch of other options as well, but that's specifically why I'm up this high. I would at least be at 87 for the T-Mac, but 88 is nice because you get the green machine and the space creator. But 86 and 84, which I do have builds that have just that, and you've just seen a couple of them as well, is also very great. And at least for me, I'm still very consistent. Main thing being at 84, you get the gold midi magician, which is a great badge. And if you want to hit those midis, or at least you can hit midis without it for sure. 77 midi is actually in much better than you would think, and you can hit faders and all that on it. But for me, I hunt mid-range a lot. Like a lot, so it makes more sense for me to have it a little bit higher just because I'm operating down there so much. Again, 71 free throw, a lot of people think it's not enough. For me, it is, and again, we're in the wreck. Not that I don't care about the win or that I'm trying to sell, but I am consistent with a 71 free throw. I run Michael Jordan. And free throw is very, very cheap, but to get this build exactly how it is, how you see here, I had to just only have the 71. So what I'll do, and we talk about this in the original Builder Secrets video, is you've got non-negotiables on a build, and we'll talk about that in this, when we get into it here as well. But what I'll do is I'll set my free throw to 71 right off the rip in the beginning when I'm making a build. That way I can set everything else how I want, but at the very least, I'm getting that 71 free throw. If I do have points left over at the end, then I'll bump that free throw up as much as I can, because I still do love and enjoy having a very high free throw. I just know, if I want to mess around and make a build a specific way, I might have to sacrifice a little bit. Great build, like kind of different, but not that much different than what we've already seen, right? And then you have this one, which is more like I say 3 and D, just because I know I'm consistent with the 78 3 ball. But if you wanted more of a proper 3 and D, then you would go like 92 on this 3 ball here, and you'd probably bring down the perimeter more to like 90 or 91, or maybe the steal down to 89 or 85 or whatever. There's a lot of different ways to do it. For me, this is a two-way 3-level threat, but I can play this like a 3 and D in the sense of like I'm going to be an absolute pest on defense, and I really wanted to have the 94 and 91. Now, this is the only build that I don't have made yet, and I don't have a video out for it or anything, knowing you guys have never seen it or whatever. If you want to make this build, I'm pretty sure exactly how I'm going to make it. I'm pretty sure. However, I would like the 86 ball handle. That way I could get the Kemba Walker escape moves, but I've got to figure out how to get that. I can probably lower the speed, but with having such high defense, I want to have the high speed. It's not the point. It's not what we're here to talk about. I'm just ranting. So for me, what I really, really wanted out of this build was to be an absolute pest on the defense, which we've got 94 perimeter, 91 steal, and 84 strength. We're like a lock. Locks have the same, if not higher, in at minimum an 84 strength, if not higher. So I'm running a point guard, and I'm still getting great shooting. I'm still have enough passing. I still have great ball handle. I'm still finishing at the rim effectively. I have post control. I've got a bag, and if you can, I know that I can work with all of these attributes and these points exactly where they are, and I can be very effective. So for me, this build works. If it doesn't work for you, totally change it and make it whatever. Most 3 and Ds would have the 92 3 ball, which I did make one with the version of that, but really I just want to build with super high defense because I obviously haven't ran it in a while on all those recent builds that you've seen. And it's fun, and it's just a different play style. Again, it's not better or worse, because when you're running with the team anyways, someone else will fill that role. That's the whole point, right? I have these different builds, and when I'm running with some of the other guys that I've been recently running with, like Koza and them, I really serve the role more so, like I'm not the primary ball handler, either Koza or Spill is, and I kind of just chill, and I just spot up shoot. Every once in a while, I might get an ISO and go for a dunk, but really, I would probably serve that squad better by having a bit more defense and maybe a high 3 ball, or even the 78, because I'm still consistent with that, and I'll hit on the spot ups, obviously. And then I can, contribute more to defense because I'm not a primary ball handler. And if you're going to say that, then we could drop a lot of this stuff, even way lower. But either way, with my homies my in real life homies that I always run with, or that I've been running with majority of the year, I am the primary ball handler. So I do have to have that. So it just depends who you're running with, and then you can swap builds, and you can serve your purpose, serve your role. And that's kind of what I mean by like the build is not better or worse. It just depends on who you're with or what mood you're in that day. For me, if I feel like, again, being a pest on defense and just clamping everyone up, then I'll hop on something like this. Or if I want to be, a little bit more offensively heavy and kind of scoring and just like clowning around and having a good time offensively, then I'll get on something that has higher ratings offensively, So again, not one better or worse than the other, just different styles of play, at least in my opinion. So this one, a very well-rounded build. You have great ball handle. This is my ball handle and speed of the ball that I run on all of my builds. Again, I would try and get that 86 ball handle just for the Kemba Walker escape moves, but at 85 you can still run Jimmy Butler, and Jimmy Butler escape moves are also very good. But other than that, all my builds, other than that Kyrie one that you saw, my 6'3", they've just got 86, 85 ball handles. So I've got the same ball handle I personally always operate with and never have an issue with. I've got the same midi and 3 ball threshold that I'm very comfortable with and very consistent with. I've got a bag in the post control. I get post fade phenom Hall of Fame, which is a great badge, and I enjoy that as well, so why not? Post control is also super cheap. Standing dunk, very effective at 73. Driving dunk, very effective enough at 36. On a fast break, you're going up, which is great. And if you do ultimately, you got to think about things. If you're open, you can do it. Driving layup is super low. We've talked about this before. It doesn't matter. It's a basketball game. You're wide open looking at the rim. You think you can hit a layup? you can hit a layup. So, you know, if you break your guy off or it's a fast break or whatever, you're finishing with your dunk at the 36 driving dunk. You have to have 36 in order to get a driving dunk. So put it at 36. And driving layup is just there by default, but it's still effective. You just got to use it the right way. You know, it's just not your main go-to bag. Unlike our other build that has the 88 layup and the gold fearless finisher and the LeBron James package, I'm obviously much more effective with layups on that build, but it doesn't make it better or worse. They just have different bags. They just play differently. So this is just another frame of reference for you guys to see of like how different point guard or guard builds can be. And all of these builds that I showed you, you could run at the 1 or the 2. And also, I know we looked at 6'3", 6'6", and 6'7", but you could also do that at 6'5", or you could do it at 6'9". And I actually have a 6'9" build, and I have a video up of it. It is a little dated. I didn't know as much as I know now about the builder, but still, it's a good build. But I would run my 6'9", and I would push the ball as a primary ball handler with that, and I didn't have an issue. And I run it in threes or in park just because it's very, very fun, and it's big, but you still get a lot of ball handle, and you still get to be fast, but you're still very good defensively. The 6'9" attributes, you get to mess with a lot, and it's very, very fun. Probably my favorite build to be on is my 6'9", just in terms of like it kind of can actually do it all at a very effective rate. So either way, you can make these builds kind of any threshold between 6'5" to 6'9", and you can mess with these builds through those heights and it wouldn't really make a difference, and you could run them at the 1 or the 2. Not that many people are running 6'8" and 6'9" point guards anymore, but you totally can, and you can totally be very effective with it. And again, like with me, if I want to run a 6'9" or 6'6", it doesn't matter, because my 2 guard, if we really get some sweaties in rec who are running zone and 5 out, which honestly, if you're doing that, just go to Pro AM, because you're fooling yourself if you think you're good at the game by beating people that don't have a full squad, have AI or whatever. So just don't be that guy, because it's pretty annoying. But if we do get those sweaties or whatever who are running a zone and putting the lock on ball and all this stuff in the rec, like when we're just trying to have fun, then I'll just give Chef the ball, depending on what build I'm on. And he's got the 92 ball handle, and we can just run it that way. He can push 2. So 1 and 2 are pretty interchangeable. It just depends on the scenario that you end up facing or what other builds you have around you, you know, how to run it. Okay, so now we're gonna start actually with the builder secrets, right? This is what we're actually here for. And if you're still here, what's up? And if you're new here, what up? Thank you for the support and thank you for coming through. The difference between a point guard and the shooting guard is shooting guards you can make at 6'9". Point guards, the highest you can go is 6'8". So if you want a 6'9" specifically, you got to make them at shooting guard, but it doesn't change the attributes or what, like how many or how little points you get and all that. Like, it doesn't change anything. It literally just gives you the name of a point guard or a shooting guard. Guards, I mean, you can make them, you know, small guards. You could go as low as 5'7", like the one that I showed you that Chef is running right now, and I actually will be putting up a build video of that just because it's hilarious. Or you can make them anywhere. For me, I would say like 6'3" to 6'9" is where you'd want to be for a guard build. Now, the reason you would go under 6'5" or go on a smaller guard is, you know, if you're a high enough rep level, maybe you want to try the Patty Mills jumper, or maybe you want the Kyrie Irving dribble style, which is, you know, very good. You don't have to, if you're on a 6'6", you know, you have to speed boost out of kind of every move in order to get the speed boost. Whereas on Kyrie's dribble style, you kind of just automatically speed boost after any move if you just run that way. So it's very fun. And that's why I have a 6'3". It's just a different play style, and I get to kind of, you know, I get to shoot a lot more because I'm getting more open on the perimeter. Whereas I personally am not good or as good at doing that on 6'6" or bigger ones that don't have the Kyrie dribble style, because I'm really not that great of a dribbler, you know. But then you get guys like Koza who are running, he could come out with a center and he's probably going to dribble better than I dribble on a guard, because he's just like that, and that's just like his thing, right? So again, it's just knowing what you can get away with, can and can't get away with, you know, and what you are capable of. So either way, for me on the 6'6", I don't really hunt on the perimeter so much because I have a really hard time getting open on the perimeter, and I don't work well around screens. So I hunt a lot more in the mid-range, or I go for the dunk, and I'm very effective at it and it works. Whereas on smaller guards, I actually shoot a lot more, I think, just in general, because I'm faster and the dribble style, you know, helps me get a little bit more open out on the perimeter. I can also dunk and hunt in the mid-range, but I get to add, you know, more of threes to my bag rather than just being spot up majority of the time, you know? So either way, you can make them at any height through there. I'm just gonna go to 6'6", just because a 6'6" pretty much is the best build in the game in terms of attributes and points you get and all that. So if you are gonna make a guard, whether you wanna make a new one or whatever, if you've had a small one and now you wanna make a big one or whatever, go to 6'6". That's pretty much where you're gonna get the most ratings. Or if you want, you know, a really good two-way, 6'7s like you saw our two-way that we just showed you, 6'7s get really good attribute ratings defensively. as well. So you can make a proper two-way like the one you guys saw, where you get a lot of defense, but still great ball handling and shooting and everything else that you need. So that's a reason why you would go shorter. That's a reason why you would go 6'6", and that's a reason why you would maybe go to 6'7". Other than that, you can go to 6'8" or go to shooting guard and go to 6'9" if you want, just because you want to be, you know, bigger and take less contested shots because you're shooting over people and things like that. And again, 6'9s are very, very fun because look, you're only maxing your ball handle. Even if you go minimum wingspan, your ball handle is only going to max at 80. So now, rather than going up to 86 ball handle and 75 speed with ball, we can only go to 80 ball handle at our max and 73 speed with ball at our max. That's not a bad thing. It's just different, but those are points now that you have that you didn't before, because even when you max it out, you're saving, so to speak, points. You're using less. So that's why the 6'9s are fun, because you work with what you've got. And I don't mean that in a bad way. They're very, very fun builds, and you can really do a lot with them. Either way, we'll get right into it. Like I say this in all the builder videos, or just majority of my videos anyways, but this is where it starts. Right here is where your build starts. Now, if you look over here on the right, then you can see that when I change my, let's look down at strength. All right, look down at strength over here on the bottom rightish. When I'm changing my arm length, my strength is going up or my strength is going down, as well as other things in the attributes just in general, right? So this is where it starts in terms of like, okay, I know I want to be 6'6", and I know I at the very least want to have an 86 3 ball, let's say, right? So our 3 ball right now is at 87. Okay, well, can I put my wingspan up one more to, you know, be a little bit more of a pest in the passing lanes or whatever it is, or not? If I put my wingspan up, well, now it goes to an 85 3 ball. And what you're losing from 85 to 86 is you don't get the silver agent 3. So if you want that silver agent 3 for your 3 ball, you've got to put your wingspan at a 7 foot. Yes, that gives you the threshold of 87. We're only going to go to 86 because that's all we need. But if we make the wingspan 1 higher, we lose 86. We can only go to 85. So it starts here, and that's just like one specific show of like how it starts here, you know, but like height, weight, and wingspan is all going to affect that. If you change your weight, you're now going to lower or make higher your speed with ball, or your strength, or your interior defense, or your acceleration. So depending on what you want, like you've got to know what you want when you get into the builder, and it makes it all a lot easier. So I know that I typically like to have an 86 3 ball with a 92 mid-range. So my wingspans on almost all my 6'6" guards are 7 foot, and that gets me the 92 mid-range with the 87 3 ball. I only go to 86, but I know that that's what I want, and that's what I'm comfortable with, and that's what I like the most. Other than that, you mess with things like weight. You know, if I want to make a guard that's, you know, a little bit more of a bully, I'm going to keep the height and the wingspan exactly there, but I'm now going to up my weight, and let's say we want the 84 strength. I'm not going to up my weight any higher. See how it goes from 84 strength to now 87 strength? You could go from 235 to 228. And if you want to be at 235 and all your attributes stay the same, then totally go there. But I only want to go, personally, just for me, as high as I need to get the 84 strength. So I'm going to put that weight up to 228. Now, if for some reason something changed here, let's say like to be a little bit stronger or something, then we could put the wingspan down. So right now at 6'6", 235 and 7'3" wingspan, our strength is only 83. But if we come down a length in the wingspan, it now goes to 84. So all of it starts here. You've got to know what you want, and once you know what you want, it makes right here a lot easier. And when you set it up right here where we're at, now when you get in here and you start actually making it, you have your thresholds already exactly where you go. So let's say you put your strength up, and let's say it only went to 83. Let's say you made like all this build, right? You did all this stuff, you made the build however you wanted, blah, 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 everything's set up. Let's say we're at 99, but your strength, by the time you get down here and everything else is done, it only goes to 83 because you didn't pay attention in the beginning. Well, now you have to back out, not a huge deal. And you have to adjust this so that you can make the strength 84, and maybe that alters something else you had up here already. So now you've got to like kind of backtrack and like check points and make sure that things aren't over invested into and like all this stuff, right? So like if you figure it out from the start, like in this screen here, it's going to help you just make a build better just in general and like not have to backtrack. Other than that, for guards, so on my builds of my guards, which are mainly the videos that I'm putting up because I run, you know, a guard, but on a 6'6" guard, like I said, I know that I personally, but also just in general, you can get away with your ball handle only being 86. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna put your ball handle to 86. That gets you those Kemba Walker escape moves, which are like the best ones in the game. Even my smaller build that has 92 ball handle or even 95 ball handle, like the Kemba Walker escape moves are the ones that people are running, even the guys who are the best at this, right? So I'm gonna put that up to 86 so I can get those. My speed with ball is gonna go to 85, and that's because that, once we put our speed up and everything else, let's do this. So now we get the silver blow by and the silver speed booster. So like these pretty much on all my 6.6s, these are my thresholds. And then my pass act will at minimum be at 77. And if I have points left over later, or if I just want it higher, then I'll put it higher, right? But like I know off the rip, like on all my 6.6s, this is the minimum I'm gonna go to, unless I'm making some, you know, sketchy little different build and I want to mess around and make something different. But these are my thresholds. So right off the rip, like I know what I want. My wingspan is where I want it. I know I'm going to be able to get my 86 3 ball, even though it goes to 87. And I know I'm going to be able to get my 92 midi. So like right off the rip, for me, if I'm coming in here and I'm making a guard, like I've set it up in the beginning, like I just showed you guys, and now things are right where I want them. And if I do want to make a build with strength, then I've put the weight up so that I can max the strength out at 84. But if I didn't want to make a build at strength, I'd probably still go to 215 rather than minimum weight, just because I like the body style that you get around 215 to 228. Minimum weight like 180 is just a bit too skinny like looking for me. I just don't aesthetically, literally that's it, I just don't like it. So I typically go between 215 and 228 on most of my builds anyways. But if you don't care about it being skinny or whatever, you just want minimum weight, obviously if you're not investing into that strength, you can just go minimum weight, right? So I know what I want when I come in here, and off the rip I'm at an 86 overall, and I've got pretty much everything where I want it. That's kind of the secret, so to speak, of it all. But either way, 86 ball handle on a 6'6" on a guard, you are good. You are good. You're not like, you only get the silver unpluckable. It's okay. You're not getting plucked. I have zero issues with it. You only get the silver blow pie and the silver speed booster. It's okay. You are still fast. And on a 6'8", I'd probably invest into things a little bit more, or a 6'9" as much as I can, just because you're bigger, you're a bit more clunkier. That's just how it is. Builds do feel different, whether they show a difference in attributes or whatever it is or not. Like I do feel very clunky on a 6'8" compared to a 6'6". Even if I gave them the same attributes, which someone commented on a video and they were like, you can get all these attributes on a 6'8", hold this L. So I held my L. And I held it close and I hugged onto it. But either way, on a 6'6" compared to a 6'8", even with the same attributes and certain things, it still just feels different. If you play the game enough, there's just something like, and other guys will say this who are far better than I, they're just like, I feel clunky on a 6'8", bro. Like, I don't know what it is, but with the same ratings as my 6'6", I just feel clunky and slower on a 6'8". Maybe it's not true. Maybe it's just something in our head, but whatever. Like, that's what I think. So on a 6'6", and that's why I say specifically, like on a 6'6", I can get away with this and I'm happy with this. I don't get plucked. I'm still fast enough. I'm still breaking people off. I'm still getting open in the mid range or wherever it is. Now, I told you, I personally struggle with creating on the perimeter. That's just me and my skill set, like my capabilities as a player and what I am or am not capable of. That's not what, you know, silver blow by or silver speed booster is capable of. Because if you go watch Koza's videos, like I said, dude will be on a 6'9" with 66 acceleration, busting people off more than I've ever done in my life. So it's just a skill thing. Sometimes, you know, so the 86-75 combo is going to get you like silver everything, and then the 73 excel is going to get you that silver blow by. And there's also just tests, and people say, you know, basically from 73 excel on, there's really not much of a difference that anyone feels, and even in the tests there's nothing that shows much of a difference. So save those points, you know, and invest them elsewhere. And this is where you can like start figuring out, okay, what can I and what can't I get away with, not only in my skill set, but just in feedback from the community, feedback from people who have already done the trial and the error. 73 acceleration is all you need to do. It's as high as you need to go. Unless you're specifically going for the gold blow by and the gold speed booster, 73 excel, getting everything silver, there's not much difference. What I say is like, yes, badges themselves make a difference, but if you're talking about like the acceleration just in general, 73 and on, there's really like no proof of really any difference. There's actually proof of no difference. So once you know that, you're like, then I'll just go to 73 excel. Like, I ain't about to get scammed on it, right? So I'm gonna go to 73 excel and I'm gonna put these points elsewhere because now I saved some points. So on a 6'6", in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinion, and people who have done the tests on it, these thresholds right here that we're looking at, you can get away with. So you can apply this to any guard, whether it's your shooting guard, your point guard, whatever. But if you're comfortable with this and you're comfortable with the, you know, dribbling moves and sigs that you get out of this, keep it lower rather than go up to the 92 or whatever it is and save those points and now put them elsewhere. And now you're maybe messing around in the builder in a way that you haven't before, because you like things, although they're lower, don't feel any different for you. You know what I mean? You went from a build with 92 ball handle to 86 ball handle, and like you're really not seeing that much of a difference. The main difference I know is like handles for days. Like if you really are dribbling like crazy, like that 91 to 92 ball handle is definitely good to have because you keep your adrenaline when you're really dribbling like that. But I personally don't dribble like that, so I'm good with the 86. The amount that I dribble, the silver handles for days does more than enough for me. So, and then other than that, that's kind of the main difference in terms of like what you're capable of or how much you're breaking people off or what sigs you get and all that. Like not much of a difference that's really worth it. So 86 ball handle, 75 speed with ball, at least on a guard, you can totally get away with that and have a blast with that. And now you've got points to put elsewhere. So the vast majority of people think that. So if you haven't tried it, go ahead and try it. 77 passing, we've gone over a lot, but it is enough. I'll show you guys a couple clips here. If I wasn't at 77, then I'm at least gonna go up to 87 because you're gonna get that bronze bailout. And the biggest secret in this video or in the builder in general is to take your time. Just take your time, apply yourself, and just really sit here. You don't have to go too crazy because I'm here and there's other guys on YouTube as well that do this and like, you know, give you these like tips and tricks because we've been sitting in it for so long. But ultimately for you, apply yourself a little bit and just look. Okay, from 77 to 82, I now get touch passer silver. Okay. Oh, and I get special delivery gold. Okay. Needle threader silver. Okay. Up to 86, I get break starter gold. Okay. 87, I get bronze bailout. Tight. So everything that you gain from 77 to 87, I mean, yeah, cool. You get the break starter and the touch passer and all these things, the needle threader, but all of those serve their purpose and do exactly what they need to do at 77, like at an extremely efficient and great rate. The main reason you're going to go higher or on a guard in general is just because you want that bailout, which is great for creating because now you're driving and kicking and you can actually get up into an animation and bail out of it and really cause people to collapse and like crash, you know, and now you're bailing out and dotting someone for a wide open shot. And that's great, especially as a guard, especially as a primary ball handler, because now you're creating, right? You're not only looking to score, but you are creating in a much more efficient and effective way. So that's great. But can you get away with the 77? Yes. In terms of bailouts, no, bailouts are going to go crazy. You're going to throw them into the stands. Sometimes it's ridiculous. But if I want to save those points because passing is very, very expensive and I want to, be a little bit more offensive or even a little bit more defensive, as a point guard or, pressuring the ball or whatever it is, I'm going to sacrifice with that passing and leave it at 77 because it's still more than enough. I personally am still throwing full court passes and whatnot at a very efficient rate to where I'm like, I can totally 77 is great. And like I said already, my team's not complaining to me. My team's not like, bro, your passes are ridiculous. Like, please make something else. Like you're throwing me duds and when I catch them, I'm blowing out or whatever it is. Like I'm not getting those complaints. So free throw, we go over this almost in every video, but 71 will get you the bronze, 80 will get you the silver free points. I would recommend going to 80 or higher because you're very, very effective and consistent at that. 90 will get you the gold free points and 99 will get you Hall of Fame. I run 71 a lot just because I personally am consistent at it and I'm okay with that. But if I can, I will max that out to 99 just because free throws are not free in this game. So it's absolutely worth investing into and it's super, super cheap, right? So from 71 to 99, we didn't even go up a point. We went from 86 and we're still 86. So it's super, super cheap. I'm gonna put it down just that way we do save points just in general as we go through this video and whatnot. So I don't have to come around and rearrange things. But I would recommend going 80 or higher. You're gonna be consistent and it's enough, but it's also super, super cheap. So if you can max it out, then just max it out because it's totally worth it. Like I said, free throws are not free. And if you're the guy who's taking a bad shot or go up, and you take a bad take, but you still draw a foul and you get to the line, people are already kind of annoyed with you because you didn't pass to them when they were open and you took a dumb shot or whatever it is. Now you're at the free throw line and you've got super low free throw and now you brick them. They might not be passing you the ball the rest of that game, you know what I mean? So at least if you're looking like a jackass going for some, you know, shots that you really shouldn't be, you've got free throw to rely on if you end up, you know, getting bailed out with the foul or whatever it is. So invest into that free throw, put it up 80 or higher. I would recommend if you can. I personally run 71 a lot, but again, that's me and what I'm capable of. But still, even then, I love being on my builds that have 99, 95 free throw. It's way better. It's way better. Mid-range 92. Now 90 mid-range is a very good mid-range to have. Now one, if you don't hunt in the mid-range a lot, then you can definitely go to 86 or 84. But something to consider is you unlock certain bases depending on how high your mid-range or your 3-point is. So if you've got like a 92-3, then you can really put your mid-range wherever you want because you're going to unlock like all the good bases anyways. But if you're something like this that has only a 78-3 or an 86-3 and you're going to put that midi up, at least on 6-6s and bigger guards, 87 will unlock you that T-Mac base, which is like the best base in the game, one of the best bases in the game. Very consistent, very good all the way around, very easy to green, like all of that. Big green window, all of that. So 87 is where you're going to get that. But if you're already going up to 87, the way I look at it is like, okay, well, if I go up one more to 88, I'm now getting Green Machine, which is a very, very good badge, and Space Creator, which is also a good badge, but it's very heavily reliant on your play style. For me personally, Space Creator doesn't activate that much, but for Chef, my shooting guard, Space Creator pops up all the time for him just because that's his play style and how he plays. So for me, Green Machine is worth that one extra point, so I like going to 88. And again, that's on a build like this. On builds that I have that have like the 92 3 ball, I know I'm already gonna unlock that T-Mac base. So my mid-range at minimum, I'm gonna put it to 84 if like I'm investing into dunk or whatever, like those other builds we saw. But if I'm not investing into that, then maybe I'm just gonna put it up to 92 and I'm gonna go from there. So I've got the 92, I've got the 86. Now, if you don't invest much into finishing, that's okay. But something I would recommend is going to the 36 driving dunk, because again, you have to have that to get a driving dunk animation. And I would highly recommend going to a 73 standing dunk. And that's just because that's going to get you everything bronze once we put our vertical up. So let me put this up, 60. Okay, so now we have everything bronze at that 73, and 73 standing dunk is very, very good, and you will absolutely be very effective with this. So this is a good way. Standing dunk, post control, and free throws are very, very cheap. So this kind of makes you a little bit more efficient. Let's say you went super high on your midi and on your three, right? Or whatever it is, and you just don't have that many points to work with. If you still want to be effective, that way you can really get in your bag, this 36-73 combo is very, very good. And what it allows you to do is if you're in that corner and you go for that back door, you're actually going to be very, very effective on back doors because you're going to get dotted once you're under the rim, assuming you're open. You're going to literally get precision dunker, aerial wizard, fast twitch, and rise up are all going to trigger. So you're going to get up to that rim much quicker and just get better animations in general. I love having this specific combo, 36-73. When I go from my 94 driving dunk build to my builds that have the 36-73, I am still having a blast with dunks just because I'm highly, highly effective on back doors. And when you're highly effective on back doors or just effective in other areas in general, people tend to respect it. So now I'm getting back doors on a guy, right? But now I'm gonna dex him or two-step him and get back to the corner, right? So I'm gonna fake in for a back door and then run back and then, you know, hopefully get dotted. And now I've got a wide open shot because he's respecting, because I'm effective at the rim, just in a very different way. Obviously not effective in the same way, and it doesn't look the same as the 94 driving dunk, but if someone's getting backdoored all game, they're going to start respecting it. And now that gives you opportunity to get open elsewhere, whether it's the free throw line for a midi or just working for a midi fader in general, because once you get the ball and you do cut, they think you're going to go straight to the rim because that's what you've been doing most of the time, but you stop or you break left or whatever it is and you go for a fader in the mid-range, or you dex and you stay at the 3-point and you pull up from there. So having things like this, although it's very small, it helps you be very effective in a lot of different ways. So 36-73 is a very, very good combo, and it's only one I started using recently. And one of those builds that you guys saw, which is my actual build, has literally this combo. So I do believe in it. I do love it. And it's very worth investing into. Driving dunk is very expensive, but we're only going to 36, and the standing dunk is very cheap. We're gonna put it to 73. You don't have to put it to 73. You can go to 45, or you could even go to 40, and you're going to unlock the 1 or 2 packages that you unlock for standing dunks. But again, if you go to that 73, you're now going to get all these badges bronze, and you're just going to be much more effective. So I love this 36-73 combo. It's very, very effective, and it's very, very good. And again, it just helps you create in different ways to where now they have to respect you, not only at the 3 or in the mid range, but also at the rim. So it helps open you up elsewhere when you're effective in multiple places, right? When you're a 3-level threat or whatever it is. Very good combo. If you go to 81, I believe it is, you get Precision Dunker Silver, which is very cool. And you could also up your vertical a little bit. You know, there's plenty of different ways. And this is where I say, like, apply yourself and just take your time. If you have extra points and you want to go up to that 81, take your time, go through these on the side. Okay, well, I got this silver. What does it take to get this silver? What does it take to get this? Okay, well, rise up. All I have to do, 81 standing dunk, I have that in a 63 vertical, and it says my vertical's at 60. How many points do I have left over? We're obviously only at 90 of 99, but let's say you're towards the end of your build. Oh, dang, I had the points. Okay, now I'm just gonna put the rest wherever it's forcing me to put them, but cool, I got this badge silver now. Even better, right? So just take your time and actually look at what the builder is telling you when you're investing into stuff. That way you don't over or under invest. A lot of the times you'll load up into the rec or whatever, and if you have frame of reference like what we're talking about here, you'll go in and you'll see someone with like a 84 3 ball, like a 92 midi, let's say, and an 84 3 ball. And when you see stuff like that, you're just like, bro, why did he only go to 84? When you go to 85, you get limitless range bronze. Why wouldn't you want that? So like, it's just people not taking their time in the builder, you know, maybe putting too much somewhere else or too little elsewhere. So that's what you don't want to do. You don't want to over or under invest. 85 at the very least is going to get you limitless range bronze. 86 will get you Agent 3 silver, which is improves ability to make pull-up shots from the 3-point range. I like Agent 3 a lot. If you can get it silver, I think it's worth it. But 85 3-ball is also very, very effective and a great rating for 3-ball. But if you can get it to 86, you're going to get that Agent 3 silver. But like I said, a lot of people just come in and you'll see them and you'll be like, man, they're 1 rating off. Like, they're 1 attribute point off from having like bronze limitless range. And sometimes you'll see like 84 3-ball and an 89 midi. And when I see that, I'm like, okay, well, he's 1 point off in mid-range from Hall of Fame open looks, which is a great badge that applies across the board on any shot that you take if you're open. It's a very good badge. Whereas like Midi Magician specifically obviously works in the mid-range, or Guard Up works if defenders are like contesting you, or Catch and Shoot works specifically if you're catching it and you're shooting it. But open looks will apply to all of those scenarios that we just said. It's a really good badge. So if someone comes in and they have got like an 89 midi and an 84 3, I'm like, what the heck, bro? Like, why would they do that? If they go to 90, they get Hall of Fame open looks, and if they go to 85, they get bronze limitless range. That is significantly better than 89-84. Significantly. The benefit that you get from having bronze limitless range and Hall of Fame open looks is exponential. Like, it's a big difference. So, and it's not just in shooting that you'll see this, right? You'll see this kind of in other places. I'm just using this as an example. Ultimately, to say take your time in the builder, really look at what you're doing, because you really might just be 1 point off. And what I do at the end of all of my builds, I'll circle back and I will go through and just make sure everything isn't like too high. So let's say we only wanted a 90 mid-range. See how I can put this close shot up to 66? But I don't need close shot. I'm not investing in a close shot. I never invest in a close shot. Let's say we're messing around in the build or whatever. We get to the end of the build, it says 99 overall. I will scroll right back up to the top before I even look at the build, and I will check this stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, well, why is this so high? I don't care about close shot. And, oh, it's because I had my mid-range at 92, so it was at 62, but now I've put my mid-range down to 90. I just forgot. So I can actually bring this down 2 points, which gets me extra points, so maybe now I can invest in my free throw more, or whatever it is. But it's just taking your time and going through the builder. That's all it is, just taking your time and just really making sure, you know, you've invested points in the right places, you didn't overinvest, you didn't underinvest, and you actually look at these things on the right-hand side and you read them and see what they're doing. Totally, I understand, because I made a lot of bad builds before I started making these videos on how to make at least decent ones, I think, you know? So I get it, it's a lot, but if you're gonna make a build and you're going to spend your money, you might as well take the time to at least watch a video like you're watching right now, or read these things on the side and just double check, triple check, make sure, you know, that you didn't over or under invest by 1 point or something like that, you know? So kind of the biggest builder secret there is just being patient and taking your time, you know, like actually like applying yourself and taking in that information before just pulling trigger on the build or whatever it is. Okay, so driving layup, and we talk about this in the builder secrets video specifically, but driving layup is very good. Now, default small layup package, I want to make a video specifically on the default small layup package, which you get that at like 40 or something. Like every build that you have will have that. Like smaller builds, like you don't get default small like on a big man, but like guards and whatnot, that default small layup package, you're gonna have it just because it's there naturally. It takes like 25 layup or something like that to like get it. So my layup being at 66, I'm okay with it most of the time. So like on my builds that have 94 driving dunk or 87 dunk or 75 dunk, whatever it is, whatever the layup goes to naturally, I'm okay with it because I believe in default small layup package and I'm still effective and like and efficient with it. So I'm good with it. Now, layups are also very, very goated. So on a build like this, if you wanted to go up to like, I go to 88 layup a lot because you get float game Hall of Fame, and I do a lot of floaters. And again, that's just knowing one, how the builder works, what I like my play style and how I like to play, and what badges I'm getting. If I go to 87, I know I'm getting LeBron James layup package, which is the layup package I typically choose to run. But if I go to 88, I get float game Hall of Fame, and I personally do a lot of floaters. And then what you want to do after that is you want to make sure that your strength is high enough. A lot of people invest into layup and they don't invest into strength. As you see here, let's come down to strength. We've got the 84 strength, so we already have this. But if we weren't making a build that had the strength and it was lower, well, look what it takes for Fearless Finisher. Improves ability to convert contact layups. Now I've invested into 88 layup to try and be effective and efficient at layup, but a lot of people will come in and they'll invest super high into layup and they don't invest into strength. I think Fearless Finisher is a very good badge. I haven't personally seen a test on it or anything like that, but I think Fearless Finisher is a great badge and I totally think it's worth investing into. So this is just one of those things, like if you're making a build and you're like, you know what, I haven't had a layup build. I wanna try out layups and see what it's all about. Well, you make this, but you don't invest into strength because you don't take, you know, a second just to read this. You've got to upgrade this by going up to 60 strength. We're only at 55. Okay. Put it up to 60. Well, when's the next upgrade for gold? 65 strength in either 86 close shot, or 87 driving layup, which we have the 87 driving layup. Our strength is on 60. If we go to 65, we get gold Fearless Finisher. So now I've invested into layup and I'm getting the most out of layup because I took a little bit of time right there to check it out. But either way, you guys don't have to do that because I'm here telling you. So Fearless Finisher is a great badge and it's absolutely worth investing into. So if you are going to make a guard with layup, a great package is LeBron James. It's very glitchy. It yanks you from like free throw line and very far out at times, and it's very, very hard to guard. It's very cheesy. So 87 will get you that package, but if you do floaters, then float game Hall of Fame is a great badge, triggers a lot and helps a ton. So going up one more point to that 88 is totally worth it. But the 87 combo with the 65 strength is going to get you gold Fearless Finisher and LeBron James layup package. At 85, which obviously you have 87, but at 85 layup, you get Devin Booker and his floaters are ridiculous. And at 81, you get DeMar DeRozan and he also has an insanely glitchy layup package, even a bit more glitchier than LeBron's, really yanks you from super, super far out with a crazy high release. However, there is a very, very bad animation in his package that you get sometimes. So you just got to try and avoid that. But all good layup packages and ones that you can be very effective at the rim with, and with layups just in general. So if you are trying to make a build, you know, with layup, there's a little bit of pointers there. I personally am going to go up to the 88 just because I do floaters a lot. But if you don't, save the point, just stay at 87, get that LeBron James layup package and put that strength up so you get the gold Fearless Finisher alongside it. That way you're really getting what you're investing for with the layup. Close shot, I never invest into on a guard. I've never invested into ever. It's just not my play style. So I'm gonna go ahead and skip that. I always skip that. We talk about it a little, actually we talk about it a lot in our big man video because I had my big come into the video with me and talk to you guys about it specifically. So if you are wondering about close shot and whatnot, in the Builder Secrets big man video, we do talk about close shot. Post control is also very, very good. And it's super, super cheap. We're going all the way up to 92 in we go from a 90 to what was it, a 93? Yeah, to a 93. So super, super cheap. The only reason you're gonna go to 92 is if you want the gold unpluckable. If I was on a 6'8 or 6'9, I might do that just because I'm bigger. Like I said, I feel a bit more clunkier and I feel like I just get ripped a little bit more. So I'm gonna go up to that gold unpluckable. But on a 6'6, 6'5, 6'7, I'm fine with silver personally. So I would go to the 85 threshold if I'm going to invest into post control. But again, that's my play style because what I'm specifically investing into is post fade phenom Hall of Fame, which you're going to get if you've got like the 86 mid range, I believe it is, with the 85 post control. But that's just me and my play style. If you don't do post fades, and let's say you're a big dream shake, drop step, or post spin technician kind of guy, then you can drop this down to whatever threshold you want, a little bit lower or higher, so you get those badges where you want them. But I personally go to the 85 because post fades are really the only thing I do in the post on my guards, if I do them. And post fade phenom Hall of Fame again is just super cheap, and it's a great badge that I personally trigger all the time, so I'm going to invest into it for that. But again, the only reason you go any higher than that on a build is this is kind of a little hack to get the gold unpluggable without going to the 92 ball handle. So you got to have 92 post control or 92 ball handle. Well, ball handle's very expensive. Post control is super, super cheap. Other than obviously the offensive things. Now, again, you can go to 94 driving dunk. And if you do go to 94 driving dunk, you're going to want a 94 driving dunk with an 82 vertical. Now, my video on my most recent build is going to go into detail specifically about driving dunk. And I give you all my animations, sigs, and everything like that in that video. But basically your thresholds for dunk to be pretty effective is you can go 3673 if you want. That's very, very effective. If you're going to go higher than 36 because you just want, a little bit better of packages, I would suggest going to 65 because you're going to get those athletic hangs off one, I think it is, or something like that. You get a very good package at 65. I've talked about it in other videos, and I'll probably write it here on the screen like I do every time because I always forget the name of it. But 65 is where you want to be for another decent package. 75 is really good because once you do put your vertical up, if you can invest into it, you will get the bronze posterizer, and it's a very good and effective dunk to break people off and go up, or to get back doors even if you're in traffic. And if you're going higher than that, then you basically would want 87 driving dunk with a 78 vertical, I believe it is. Or you could go to 90 just to get the precision dunker gold like the 6'3 guard that I have has. Or you go absolute meta and you go 9482. We can't go there right now just because our points are invested into and whatnot, but 9482 is going to get you all the packages and everything that you want and everything that you should have if you're going to invest into that 94 driving dunk. So now we talk about defense. Now, if you don't want to be a liability on defense at all, like I said, for me, I can go to that 76 to 78 and I am totally good there. I would recommend, if you're gonna, make a lower defense build, I would go 76 just because you get everything bronze. If you go 78, you're gonna get that ankle braces silver, but to be honest, ankle breakers aren't triggering hardly at all anymore compared to like how they used to. And ankle braces just isn't the greatest badge. Like even people who are investing into perimeter defense, they're not investing into it for the ankle braces. We're investing into it for challenger or fast feet, pick dodger, clamps. Those are like the heavy hitters. So save the points in my opinion and just go to that 76. You get everything bronze. If you go to 75, you're gonna get the clamps. So at bare minimum, if you're gonna go for lower defense, I would say perimeter on 75. That way you just get the bronze clamps. Because clamps is a very good badge and obviously is going to help you defending. And if you're at the 1 or the 2, then you're probably going to be usually defending someone with the ball, especially if you're in rec, randoms. You're probably not switching with people or talking too much, at least not in my experience. So you at least want to be able to hold your own in some capacity. So I would recommend at least getting the bronze clamps, which is at 75. You're also going to have strength, but our strength is up to 65 already because of our layup. But if you don't have strength invested into yet, you're going to have to get 50 strength plus the 76 perimeter defense in order to get the clamps. So just take your time, see that in the builder, do your thing. If you go higher than that, then I think very good thresholds for perimeter defense are going to be 85, and that's going to get you everything silver. If you go to 87, you get gold challenger, and challenger is a good badge. And then obviously now you're talking more in terms of like being a lock or like a real two-way. And at that point, you're going anywhere from like 90, 91 to 94 or even higher. And that kind of just explains itself. You're like actually locking it down now, if that's what you want to do. And something also to consider with having a high perimeter, let's say you make a build and you want to make a proper two-way, let's say like the one we were looking at, that guard that I had that I showed you guys before the video started. At minimum, put your speed up to 85. Speed is a great thing in this game. It helps you across the board, getting down the court, getting up the court. If you're a big man, getting down for those rebounds quicker. And it helps you on perimeter defense, covering your like lateral movement. Speed is going to help you with that more. So having a high speed, like if you invest into like a 94 per rim, but you've got like a 81 or even lower speed, in my opinion, you've kind of just done yourself like a disservice. It's the same of like having that layup but not having that fearless finisher. If you're going to have high perimeter, you also want to match it with that minimum an 85 speed, in my opinion. If you're going to go like 94, then you should match it with an 85. I have one build or two with 83 speed, but even for me personally, my general, at least on my guards, for a minimum in terms of speed is 85 or 86. And if I can get it more than that, then I get it more than that. I'm just a big believer in speed, and I enjoy it, and I enjoy being fast, especially on the break if you're talking about being the one and whatnot. So being able to get down the court fast and, you know, leave everyone behind is very effective for a point guard or someone who's running the break. And in addition to that, it's going to help you on that defense. So if you are going to invest in super high perimeter or whatever it is, match it with speed. Otherwise, you're doing yourself a disservice. If you want to invest into steal, and let me just bring a couple things down here, just that way, like we can kind of mess around down here. If you're going to invest into steal, another good threshold is 85. 85 is great. It's going to get you that silver glove, and glove is a great badge in this game. If you want to go up to 89, and again, we're talking rec, right? That's where we spend a lot of time. We're not in comp. We don't claim to be comp, whatever. 89 is a great threshold if you're running rec and if you play the lanes, because you're going to get that interceptor gold, which is a great badge. And if you're good in the lanes and you enjoy playing in the lanes, you can go to 89 rather than 85, and that'll get you interceptor gold. But if you're, you know, if you're cool at 85, 85 is also great as well. And if you go higher than that, then I would just go 91. That's pretty much where we cap out, at least for me personally. You can definitely go 95 steal or 99 or whatever. It's very, very expensive, but in the rec, I stop at 91, and a lot of people, even in comp, will go up to 91 steal. 91 is great, it gets you everything gold. But those are about the three thresholds that I would recommend: 85, 89, or 91, depending on how much you want to defend, or, you know, how much you're really going for those steals. Block, invest into it as much as you can. It does not cost much. If you go to 68 block plus you have a high enough vertical, which is 60, then you're going to get bronze chase down artist. And yes, it's only bronze, but it's going to help again with contests on the perimeter, as well as, like, you're probably not really going for chase downs anyways if you only have bronze chase down artist and you're on a 6-6, but you can still get them. Not at a highly like effective or like whatever rate, but at the very least, you're going to get the good animations that are going to be able to pull other people out of animations, and just get you those good contests on the perimeter or down at the rim or wherever it is. So investing in a block in any capacity, especially if you're just going to make a build that has the lower defense, I feel so comfortable with 76 perimeter and only 68 block, or even if I can't get my block to 68, just 50 block or whatever I can invest into. I feel very, very comfortable at that, because if they do get around me, one, I've got a big man down there probably waiting on him anyways, and if he's not, at the very least, I can attempt a block and attempt to jump or get a contest, pull them out of an animation, and by that time someone comes down and they're helping. So 68 block, or block just in general in any capacity, very, very good, very, very worth investing into. Rebounding, that's going to be up to you. Now, things like rebound and block are like cheap on these small guards compared to what they cost like on a center, but if you want to be effective, you can get that rebound up to 83, and that'll get you rebound chaser silver. I have a lot of guards that even just have the rebound on 60, which gets you the bronze rebound chaser. And yes, it's effective because, again, it's just body positioning. And like I showed you guys, right? A 5'7" was hawking a dude down and stopping him from finishing at the rim, and it was a dude 3-4 times his size. So if you get body positioning right and you're good at that, 60 is enough. Again, you're just investing into it because you have extra points, or it's super cheap anyways, and just to help if you need to, or maybe you play threes a lot. Having that 60 rebound chaser is going to be very effective in there. Just as the guard, it's not my main role to go for rebounds, but if I go up under the rim and I get a contest, I'm gonna have a better chance at grabbing that rebound or jumping up and grabbing that rebound if I have the bronze rebound chaser than just not having it at all. But again, it all really depends on positioning. So if you're good at that, you know, or start becoming more aware of that, it's totally worth it. And if you do have the points, I think it's worth investing into at least a 60 to get it bronze, but you don't have to. At the very least, like I said, we're the point guard. Getting rebounds is not our job, honestly. So 76 on the perimeter and 68 I would recommend on block, but at least just block in some capacity, 50 or higher, 68, 70, whatever you can get. Whether you can get the silver chase down or not, it's worth investing into whatever capacity you can. Like I said, you're just going to get better contests on the perimeter. And if you're already lacking in defense in other areas, it's just going to help you be much more defensive. And you'd be very, very surprised at how much you're actually jumping for contests or jumping for a chase down or whatever it is. So it's worth having invested into in some capacity. Other than that, we already talked about speed. Acceleration, we're going to go 73 because that, again, is that minimum that we talked about, and it's going to get you that silver blow by. I do believe in the blow by badge, and if I could have it gold, it would be great, but it's so expensive to get the 92 ball handle with the 83 speed with ball and with the 83 acceleration. That's just very, very expensive. And for me, I know on a 6'6", I just don't need that. So for me, on my 6'3", I invested into, even all the way up to the 90 speed with ball so I could get the Kyrie dribble style, but I didn't even invest into the speed and the acceleration to get the gold blow by and speed booster just because it costs so much. If I would have invested into that, I wouldn't have been able to invest into dunk and make it up to 90, which I'm very, very effective with. Again, doesn't make it worse or better, but I know my play style, and I figured when I made that 6'3", well, I get away with silver on a 6'6". I think I'll be just fine on a 6'3". Plus, I now have Kyrie Irving dribble style, which means I don't have to actually trigger a speed boost in order to get a speed boost out of something. I actually can just run in any direction after I complete a dribble move, and I get that speed boost. So I'm saving a second or whatever. I don't now have to take the extra second or two to trigger the speed boost. I'm just getting the speed boost. So I figured, hey, I survive on a 6'6" while triggering. Now I've got Kyrie style. I don't have to actually trigger it myself. It's going to just do it as long as I run in the direction after I do the dribble move. So I didn't even invest into the blow by or the speed booster because I just didn't think I needed it. And instead I put the dunk super high or whatever. Again, it doesn't make it worse or better. It's just play style, but that was just my logic on how I went with it. But either way, I've had builds with the gold blow by and speed booster. It's nice. Blow by is a great badge. Even on my builds that only have it silver, I floor set it because I do believe in that badge, and when it pops up, I do enjoy it. And I find it personally hard to get to level up, so I always floor set it, whether it's going to be silver or gold. I'm going to floor set it off the rip if I can. Strength, entirely up to you guys. It depends on the build you're making. You got to know what you want, but at the very least, if we had that layup, like we said, up to the 87 or the 88, our strength is going to be at 65 for that. Where you get with this is strength is expensive. So when you put layup up, you've got to put strength up to get that fearless finisher. Whereas when you put dunk up, doesn't up strength, and strength is expensive and dunk is expensive. So now you're really like, if it was upping both of them, it would cost a lot, you know what I mean? And even with layup, you don't have to put up the strength, but I think if you're going to invest in the layup, then you should. But that's kind of where you can balance it, if you don't invest into the layup, you don't have to put the strength so high, and now you know you've got more points to work with dunk or shooting or wherever it is you want to put it. So you just have to know what you want, but strength does get expensive on these smaller guys. So it just depends on what you want. If I'm not investing into layup and I'm not making like a two-way, then I'm really not investing into strength on my guards. I used to believe in strength and wanted all my guards to have it, and it is fun. It's a very, very fun style of play when you're a point guard playing with strength, because you're using that strength to push off and get a lot of separation on people and shoot and whatnot, and just to clamp them up and defensively and whatnot. It is very, very fun. But lately I've wanted stuff that's a bit more heavy offensive in the terms of having like a bigger bag, like a 94 driving dunk plus a 92 three ball. And it's just really hard to get that, plus some defense and strength. So for me, I don't typically invest in strength on my builds unless I am investing into layup specifically. Other than that, vertical is another thing that you don't really need to invest into unless you're trying to get something specific. So we put it up to 60, so we get that chase down artist bronze. But other than that, you don't need to invest into it on a guard really, unless you've invested into that dunk and now you're going to invest into that vertical. So that's kind of the counterpart, right? With layup, you invest into strength for fearless finisher. With dunk, you've got to invest into vertical so you can get, all the best animations. There's typically something else that goes up with something, and that's when you start getting like finicky and really starting to nerd out, so to speak, on like, okay, what can I really do with my points to get the best bang for my buck? if you set a build up and let's say dunk, let's say you've got the driving dunk to 94 and everything set up onto your build to where you can only get your vertical to 78, I wouldn't do that because you're getting 94 driving. You're still going to get great dunk animations. Sure, it's 94 driving dunk, but 94 driving dunk with an 82 vertical, like you've got a 78 vertical rather than an 82, drop something. Whether it's passing down to 77, I wouldn't go lower, or maybe you drop some shooting or whatever it is, but you again don't want to overinvest or underinvest, right? If I'm gonna put driving dunk to 94, I'm gonna get everything that it's worth, and I'm gonna put my vertical up to 82. That way I get the Michael Jordan package and LeBron James package and all the other great animations like quick drops off one and all these other things, right? So that 94-82 is what you wanna go with. In the same sense, layup, if you've got the high layup, you wanna invest into strength to match that fearless finisher as high as you can get it. So vertical in general, if you're not investing into, like for dunk, since I'm not investing into dunk, I don't really need a vertical, but I did invest into block. Now, even if you didn't invest into vertical, I would still recommend investing into block again, just because it's super, super cheap. But if you can get that block to 68, which you should be able to do because it's super cheap, try and also match that vertical to 60. That way you can at least get the bronze chase down artist. And now again, you're just getting the best bang for your buck. You know, you invested in the block and you're also investing into its counterpart to get the most out of it. That's what you want to do. You want to make sure you're really getting the most out of what you're investing into. Something to hit just real quick. If you do invest into that 80 speed with ball, you're not going to see any badges or anything like that go up, but what you are going to unlock is the Devin Booker dribble style. So if you didn't know that, that's just a quick one. It's kind of the end of the video, I think, at least. So I'm just going over a few things that I thought I missed, you know, or that I think you guys might ask me about, and this is one that I remembered. 75 speed with ball is more than enough. You're going to that again just to get everything silver. If you do want to go higher than that, you're basically going up to 83 so that you can get, you've got to match it, but so that you can get the gold blow by and the gold speed booster. But if you aren't doing that, right, in terms of speed and acceleration, the only reason really I would suggest going higher than 75 is if you want that Devin Booker dribble style. Now, I personally don't use it, not to say that it's not good. I don't know. I tried it a little bit. I didn't like it. I prefer the pro dribble style, but that's just me and my play style. So, you know, if you haven't seen it, watch some videos on it. Maybe, you know, it looks like appealing to you, so you invest into it. But if you aren't going for that, then I would just stay at 75. And if you are going to go higher and you want to go to 83 to get, you know, the blow by and the speed booster, not only do you need the 83 speed with ball, but you need a 92 ball handle and you need an 83 acceleration and you need an 86 speed. So this is very, very expensive. And not to say that it's not worth it, but when I personally know that on a 6.6 I can do the same things with the 86, 75, 73, I'm just gonna save those points and put them elsewhere, depending on what build I want to make. You know, you can totally make a build that does have this, and again, that's just a different play style now that you're working with. You just got to know, you know, is that a play style that you will effectively do? Are you going to enjoy it? Is it really what you want to do? And are you willing to sacrifice everywhere else you need to in order to get such high ball handle speed with ball speed and acceleration to unlock all those badges and the gold and whatnot? So another fun thing just in general, or like just a point about the 1 and the 2, is they're very, very interchangeable. Now, if you're running a full 5 and you've got like a proper defender on your team, now you can, like, that's why in comp settings, builds are very, very specific, right? A build like you've got the lockdown who's always pressuring the ball. And when you have a lock who's always going to pressure the ball, which again, I mean, if you're going into rec and you're playing against randoms and they have an AI, just relax, you know? You don't have to put your lock on ball and all that stuff. Like, it's not that serious. You don't have to run a zone. Like, they don't even have a full 5. Just relax. But, you know, if you do have a full 5, whether you're in pro am or rec or whatever, just in general, if you've got a primary ball defender, now you can make a build specific based off of that, right? So if you regularly run with 5, then you can sacrifice on defense, so to speak, right, on your point guard, and you can go super heavy as a point, right? You don't have to make something like this. You can make something with the 92 ball handle, 83 speed with ball, 86 speed, 83 excel, get the gold speed booster, gold blow by, put the passing up to 89, you know, go for a high shooting or dunking or whatever it is. You can make it however you want, and your last, like, thought can be defense, right? Because you have a full 5 and you have a defender who guards ball. You can kind of hide in the corner or hide on the guy who's, you know, not really doing much and can't really move. You've still got speed because you're a guard anyways, and you kind of just get to chill. So based off of how you're running, you can make your build based off of that, right? So like if you're in rec all the time by yourself or with randoms, you probably want to make something a bit more well-rounded. That way you're not lacking in any part and you don't got guys cussing you out on the mic or never passing you the ball or whatever it is, right? So depending on who you're playing with and what your regular like schedule, so to speak, looks like, you can make your build based off of that as well. And that's for anything. It's not just for shooting guard or point guard or whatever. That's just in general. Make your build based around what you've got. So like I have a center that I always run with, and I've got my shooting guard I always run with. So my shooting guard, Chef, always has high ball handle. He always has 92. He always has high passing, and he's always got high shooting. That's the thing. He doesn't invest much into defense. Not that he's a liability, but he doesn't invest into much into defense. So that's why majority of the year I've been running builds with, you know, the 85 perimeter and 91 steal or 85 or whatever it is, because I knew just with us three, whether we were in pro am threes or if we were in the rec, a lot of the times we're not on comms with people in randoms, like no one talks really ever. So at the very least, me and him are at the 1 and the 2, and if he's got someone, you know, that's going crazy, I can swap over and I can take ball because I have more defense and he can take my guy. Now, if we get a 1 and a 2 and they're both cooking, then it is what it is. We deal with it. But that's how I would make my builds based off of, you know, the people around me, so to speak. Now I know what I can get away with and still be just as effective. So you're seeing builds a lot different, but just in general, that's like a concept or something you can consider. You know, if you've got a full 5 and, you know, it's not really, you're putting a primary defender on ball anyways, you can sacrifice that defense because it's not really your job. You're going to be an offense heavy point, and there's nothing wrong with that. Again, it's just a different play style, and as long as you've got someone else to fill that role of defending ball, it's okay. So make your build based around that. So at the 1 and the 2, it's just fun because you can kind of swap like that, and you can load in with like a 1 and a 2 guard that are very, very defensive. And now like, because you can get a point guard and a shooting guard that both cook, right? So like if you also at the 1 and the 2 have very defensive builds, and it doesn't even have to be this high, like this 2-way, but that's fun too, because now both of you are defending the 1 and the 2 obviously well, and you can do it at an effective rate, and you can kind of just bully, and you can turn defense into offense, and that's fun. It's just a style of play. It's not the only one that works, and there's many options, but just in general, you know, that's a concept too. And if you don't, then at the very least, like I said, one of you could be more defensive and one of you could be a little less, and you can swap out if you need to that way, if there's only, you know, 3 of you, or if you're only in 3s or whatever it is. And like I said, I personally am the primary ball handler on my team. I push the most, and I'll finish games with double doubles like very, very often. I'm a pass first point. That's just how I play just in general. And that's with 77 passing and only 86 ball handle and whatnot. Whereas my shooting guard has higher passing and higher ball handle than me, but he's scoring way, way more, and he's not looking to pass. That's just not his play style. He just puts those things there because he likes it. He likes to bail out because he does a lot of takes that he shouldn't do. So he needs a bailout. So at the very least, he can bail out. You know, he doesn't have bailout because he's like the primary ball handler looking to pass. You know, so it's just play style, and it's just different things. I know I can be effective. So like mainly just to say that like I'm the primary ball handler, and I actually have less ball handle and less passing typically than my 2 guard does. But I'm still the primary ball handler and the one who's pushing and whatnot. So you can swap it interchangeably. And obviously, if I have less and I'm still running priority, obviously, like if they put a lock on me or whatever it is, I can now just hand it to my 2 guard, and he can do it because he's got even higher ball handle and whatnot than me. So whether it's problems getting rips or whatever it is, now I can give it to him, and now the lock is on me, and I've given it to someone else who can facilitate if they have to, or vice versa. If you've got a good balance between the 1 and the 2, it makes the game just a lot easier just in general. And if you guys got good chemistry, that makes it even better. There's a lot of different ways you guys can make guards, and you guys have seen that in this video. I gave you guys a lot of different thresholds on where you could put the mid-range, standing dunk, driving dunk, ball handle, all of these things. In general, there's a lot of different ways to make a guard. And out of all the ones I've shown you and the things that we've gone over, if you're using the thresholds that we've covered in this video, I don't think any one build is better than the other. I think they're all different play styles, and I think if you know how to hold your own and not be a liability, then they're just fine. And typically what we'll get out of this is someone will come in, or someone will go in the comments, or just in general, you see it, right? People will be like, 76 perimeter, I'm cooking you. And it's like, you don't know what I'm capable of, and I don't know what other people are capable of with their thresholds and in terms of their skill level in the game. Like I said, Koza could come in with a 40 ball handle and speed with ball, and he's probably going to break me up. I mean, I'm exaggerating, right? But like, I could have the 92, 95 ball handle with the Kyrie dribble style and with the gold speed booster and blow by and all of that, and I still won't cook as hard as Koza would on a 6'9" with only 80 ball handle, 73 or 75 speed with ball, 81 speed, and like 66 excel. It's just a skill level thing. So like, again, know what you are capable of, what you can and can't get away with, and don't worry about what other people are saying. Just show what you're capable of and like let it speak for itself in the game. You know what I mean? Like, you can load in and they can be like, oh, this dude's only got this much perimeter. What the heck? Like, this dude's selling. He's going to be horrible. Okay, well, when you come in, you do your job. You hold your guy to little to no points. You score well and you play a good team ball. They're not going to be complaining come the end of the game. So don't worry about it. Just make something that you're going to have fun with, but don't make something that you're selling with. You know, be selfish in the sense of like, I want to make something I think I'm going to enjoy and I think I'm going to have fun with, but also remember, this is a team game, unless you're just playing like 1v1, right? Or 2v2 or comp. Like, those are all different builds. Now builds that we're looking at are going to look completely different than what we've looked at here, because this is more like 3s and 5s, and mainly 5s. So builds will look completely different, but either way, be selfish in the sense that you're going to like make something that you're going to have fun on. But remember, it's a team game. Like, you're going into 5s, right? That's mainly what we're talking about here. So don't make something that's a liability. Again, I can go to 76 perimeter because I know that's what I'm capable of and I'm comfortable, and I can still hold my guy to little to no points. Maybe for you, if you're at 94 right now and you want to save some points and you want to bring that defense down a little bit, if you don't have a build that already lacks in defense that you can just run and try out and see, maybe just put that perimeter down to 85, because 85 is absolutely viable, like non-negotiably. When you get down into the range of 76 or to none, now you're talking like skill is coming into the conversation a lot more. So just be aware of your skill level, what you're capable of, and set it to that. Be selfish to have fun, but don't be selfish to the point where you're going to make something that people aren't going to enjoy running with you because you're just a total liability. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. If I missed anything, guys, I am sorry. To be honest, I was kind of out of it making this video, and there's a lot of bloopers and a lot of like me just like blanking out and just sitting here confused and then trying to get back to it. But I am about to go get some dim sum, so that should be great. Maybe I'll post a photo of it somewhere else, but we are going to start streaming very, very soon. I'm actually getting it all set up now. I've already streamed before, but what I haven't done is I haven't multi-streamed. So now we're going to multi-stream to Twitch and to YouTube. And what I'm trying to figure out right now, and what I've been trying to work on today, is figuring out how to get a multi-chat. By the time you're seeing this, I will have figured it out, and I've already talked to a homie and I'm waiting on him to get back to me and send me the links so that I can set it all up. But that's what I'm doing. And then once I've got that set up, I'm going to start streaming. That way we can take those VODs and I can start uploading those so you guys can see actual gameplay as well as be a part of the gameplay. Get you guys in, run with subs, have a good time, and enjoy the day on 2K and just kick it. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to running with y'all. So go ahead, join the Discord. The link is down below. And when you join that, that's where you'll get the information, and that's where I'll be telling you if you're in chat anyways to join and to jump in. That way I can actually drag you into the chat that I'm in so we can talk and we can actually run, because I can't talk in game chat. My mic is linked to my PC and I've said it in a bunch of different videos and all this stuff and blah, 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 but I can't talk in game chat just because it doesn't work that way. So I have to talk to you guys into Discord, but you're not limited. If you're on console, you can still run Discord. You don't have to be on a PC. You're not limited or anything like that. So you might need to watch a video on how to set it up, but it's really not hard and you can do it totally. And once you do that, if you're in the chat and you're like, yo, I want to run, I'll just be like, yeah, okay, cool. Join up in the Discord. I'll drag you over and we'll run some. We've got a spot for 1 or 2 or 3 or however many. So I'm really looking forward to doing that with y'all. And other than that, this is the end of the video. I feel like I may have missed a lot just because I'm kind of just blanking it right now. I just feel like I'm not all there mentally with trying to do this video right now. So please, anything I missed, let me know. I'm very, very responsive and active in the comments. My Twitter or X is also linked below, and my DMs are open. I'm very responsive in that as well. I talk to a lot of people in the DMs about all types of things. Guys send me their builds and ask me, you know, what I think or what I would change or whatever. It's wild that you guys would even ask me that or whatever, but I do appreciate it, and I enjoy talking with you guys. So feel free to reach out in any way, you know. And again, I am very responsive and I see all of your guys' comments and I respond to all of them. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it. We're really getting the ball rolling here and we're really having a good time. Yes, 2K is kind of on approaching that midway or back end, but this channel and I am not, and this community is not. We're gonna be here, we're gonna be doing all types of things. And again, 2K isn't the only game I play. We'll be playing Call of Duty with subs as well, and I just play that game in general. Cyberpunk, when Grand Theft Auto comes out, the whole world's gonna change, and I'm gonna be on that a lot. So 2K right now is what we're doing mainly, and is what will always be the backbone, so to speak, of this channel, obviously. But I'm not just only into 2K, I'm into all types of other things, and I play all types of other games, and I'm looking forward to doing all that with you guys and on stream and all types of things. So thank you again. I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.